Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, the podcast aimed to inspire you to find your voice and become the best, truest, and most authentic version of yourself. Spiritually intimate, soul-to-soul conversations, life-changing insights, and spiritual teaching and healing. Real, raw, unfiltered. Join your host, Tisha Michelle.
I am no longer a willing participant in things or with people that do not bring me peace. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. Quick announcement. So I have 2 spots left for my next spiritual retreat that's going to be held in Shenandoah Valley, Virginia. And that is August 19th through the 22nd. And also, if you live in Virginia or close by and you can't attend the whole retreat, I do have day passes for that Saturday, which is August 21st. And you can visit my website, www.healaligneglow.com. And glow is GLO. And you can snag a spot there. Or if you have any questions and you want to hop on maybe a call to see if this is like a good fit for you, go to Instagram at Mindset Slayer and just send me a DM and then we can hop on a call. All right. So in this present moment, I would say that I am grateful for being able to have healthy conversations, right? Let me give you an example. So just recently, I was on the phone with a particular person and someone was FaceTiming me, and this person doesn't normally FaceTime me. So I was like, hey, such and such is FaceTiming right now. Let me call you back. Well, he got a little quiet and then was like, okay. So then I got off the phone, had the conversation with her, and it was maybe less than 10 minutes. So I called back and I called him back and then I said, did you feel some type of way because I got off the phone? And he was like, yeah, I did. I was like, okay. That was it. We proceeded with our conversation. So then a couple of days later, we were on the phone and he had shared something about that he was getting ready to do. And I just was like quiet and then just finished the conversation. So maybe about 10 minutes later into the conversation, I was like, it actually really made me feel some type of way. Well, I said, it makes me feel some type of way that you're going to, whatever it was he was going to do. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, honestly, you didn't even have to tell me that. He was like, because I felt it. He was like, and that's why I just, moved forward with the conversation. He was like, because I felt that you felt some type of way about that. He was like, but I wasn't going to lie because then you would have said like, oh, I thought you were going home. And then it could have just went to a whole other thing. And I was like, yeah. And that was that. And when I say healthy conversation, first of all, it took a while for me to get here into this space, right? You see, what happens is when, let me back up. 4 things we all as beings need. We want to feel seen. We want to feel heard. We want to feel loved. And we want to feel safe and protected. They go in one, right? Those are 4 things, right? And if we don't, we're going to get that. And we're going to get it in a healthy way or we're going to get it in an unhealthy way. So when we go back to the first thing, when I said, did you feel some type of way because I got off of the phone? And he said, yeah, I did. I actually did. And that was it. There was nothing else to be said, right? And that was very healthy, right? I was acknowledging that that he felt some type of way. And he was very truthful and very honest and said, yes, I did. Well, there was nothing else left to be said. Because what ends up happening is when you're in that space and say the conversation played out like this. And I said, did you feel some type of way because I got off the phone with you? And he's like, yeah, actually I did. And I'm like, but why? It was only such and such. What I just did was just made his feelings mean nothing. Then he'll get defensive and either say something back or in his mind will say, you know what? This is why I don't tell you how I feel. This is why I don't express how I feel. And it shuts it down. And that becomes unhealthy, right? But it was super healthy because I was acknowledging that I felt that he felt some type of way. And then he was truthful with it. So like how I was feeling that he was feeling, we were in alignment in there, but there was nothing else to say. right? Because there was no bad intentions behind me getting off of the phone. It wasn't me saying that this person is more important. It was just like, oh, I'm going to call you back and let me answer like this. But he felt some type of way, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how he felt, just like your feelings are your feelings, right? Well, before that could have, whether it was with him or someone else, could have played out a whole other way, right? So then even when I said, well, it made me feel some type of way, and he didn't ask, but I needed to say it. And the reason why I needed to say it was because I was feeling it in my stomach. And when I feel it in there, it's like, I'm not saying anything. Well, why am I not saying anything? Is it because I'm afraid to say it? Do I feel, fearful? Do I not feel safe enough? And sometimes that'll come up within you where you're like, you don't want to say it because, what's going to happen, what they're going to think. But then you push how it is that you feel aside. But in a nice, healthy way was me just saying that. And he acknowledged, he heard me. And he said, and it wasn't in a nasty way. He was like, honestly, you didn't even have to say it. He was like, because I felt it, right? That's being in tune. So I'm super proud of that because it doesn't happen overnight. Because again, we need to feel seen. We want to feel heard. We want to feel loved, and we want to feel safe and protected to even be able to express something like that, right? And if a lot of times, like a lot of us have been shut down as a child, stay in a child's place. You don't know what you're talking about, right? So then that scars us from being able to really speak our truth or express how we feel, because now we're afraid, or in our mind, we're like, nobody's going to listen to me. What I have to say is not important, or I shouldn't feel like this, because ... So then it shows up as we get older, and it shows up in all of our relationships, whether it's a friendship, a romantic, or partnership, whatever like the case may be. And we hold these things in. And when you really start to tune more into yourself and like your body, you really know like what works for you and what doesn't. So when I have something that I need to say and I don't say it, I start to feel it in my stomach. And I don't like that feeling. So I'm going to say what I need to say. But I do sit with it for a little bit. And it's not like I sit with it for a really long time. I sit with it for a little bit to make sure that when I go to express this, I'm expressing it in a healthy way. So that way I can be heard. Right? And then when I'm having conversations, I don't diminish the way that someone is feeling, because I know what that can do. That can really fuck a person up. Right? However it is that you feel, it's your feelings. No one can take that away. Just as we shouldn't take away someone else's feeling. If someone is feeling some type of way about something that you said or like you did, that might not be in your intentions, but we don't want to diminish what that person is feeling, because that is their feelings and they want to feel seen and want to feel, heard. And when you're able to do that with a person in a healthy way, like sometimes less is more, and you don't even have to say anything else. Like for us, we didn't even have to say anything else, and it was all good. It was all good. So in this present moment, that is what I'm super, super grateful for, because that shows my level of growth in the work that I've been doing, that I can have these healthy, conversations and communications, and especially with the people closest to me. All right, so now it's your turn. So unless you're driving, you already know the deal. And if you don't, now you know. Go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to take a nice deep breath. And I just want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Release some of that tension that you've been holding on to. All right, we're going to take another nice deep breath and just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Doesn't that feel good? Let's do another one though. A nice deep breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Yes, let's go, baby. Let's go. All right. So in this present moment, what are you guys grateful for? Express that gratitude. I know some of you guys just from the feedback that I get from you, that you like to pause it and you use this as your journaling. And I think that's super great, that you're coming up with your own form of practicing, where I've had a couple of you tell me that you don't journal every day, but you do journal when you listen to my podcast. And I think that's just awesome to make that your practice. Your practice is your practice, and whatever is working for you is perfect. It's perfect. And you use that opportunity and you just flow with it. And then I've had some people who have said that you now express your gratitude every single day. I've even had someone said, I don't do it at a certain time, but I make sure before I go to bed, like sometime throughout the day, that I say, in this present moment, I'm grateful, and I scan, and that works for you. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. I highly encourage and suggest each and every person that I can connect with, whether it's through the podcast or in person or whatever, is to create some form of practice, and you don't have to do what everyone else do. Just do whatever you feel, works best for you. And sometimes we adjust and you do different things. So you can journal once a week. You can journal every single day. You might not even journal. It might be that you make sure that you put on, your favorite song and you dance every single day for a couple minutes just to move the energy through your body, or you're stretching, or you're meditating, or your breath work, like whatever it is, or you color or you paint. I just recently did a VIP day with someone, and because I did it at her retreat house in Richmond, Virginia, and she paints, and she showed me like the garage area where she does like her painting, and it was something new that was birth in her, and she just uses that, as her outlet, and that's a part of like her practice. I think that's wonderful, right? And so, do whatever is best for you. So yeah, express your gratitude, guys. What's up? All right, so let's get into this episode. So I don't even know what sparked this. It might have just been probably from this conversation I was having with this guy who's I think that's what it was too. He's a reader. He's a psychic reader, and he's very like mystical and stuff. And I think that was a conversation that sparked me to want to do this podcast. And honestly, it probably doesn't even matter what sparked this like to you guys, but I'm over here just talking out loud, thinking, but sharing it with y'all. So don't mind me. All right. So my belief is that there's 3 ways that we live out our journey. So I wanted to share them with you and see if you can identify with all of them, or maybe just one. Right? So the first one I would say is that the first one is those who operate the third dimensional way, right? You do things in the right order, meaning what we were taught, right? There's labels to things, there's steps, there's structure. Or it's like you have to get this certification, or you have to get that license. You have to pick one thing and you have to stay with that thing only, because Lord knows if you don't and you switch around, you're not stable, you're confused, you're not going to get far in life. Or this is the way where society promotes longevity as a successful marriage. Like if you notice where people will say like, yeah, but my grandparents were married for 50 years. And like, Lord knows if you break up with someone after a short period of time or a marriage, it's like you're being judged, because we, as a society promote longevity. So the longer that you're married, that's a successful marriage, versus, well, what happened in that marriage, right? Did someone lose themselves, and in that marriage? Somebody just shared that story with me. I don't remember who it was. And if you're listening and it was you, sorry, I would give you a shout out, but was telling me how she went somewhere and the husband, had passed away. And one of the things that the lady shared was that as long as I forget how many years they had been married, it was a long time, like over 30 years. And she said that she realized that whole time she was living for her husband. I want to say she was in her 70s. And she's like, she's just now starting to live for herself. And that's not like her bashing him or anything, but she was living for him, and she's just now starting to live her life. So there are those who are operating in this way because, where society pushes that longevity, that means that you're successful in your marriage the longer you were married, even though you may have lost yourself, you may have been abused, or whatever the case may be, or you just wasn't happy, but you had to stay in there, right? So that's that part of there where you don't dare color outside the lines. Oh, hell no, you can't color outside the lines, because that's messy, and that doesn't look neat, and that doesn't look good. So you got to fall in line. What is the thing where they say, like, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, and like that's the way, to go in there. So I believe that's one way. So we operate from that third dimensional way, right? And then the second way is, this is where, you hear people say like, hey, I'm here in the universe or God, whichever higher power. You do what you want. I'm not going to do anything. And whatever happens, happens. If I'm meant to be homeless, so be it. That's what it is. If I'm meant to hit the lottery, so be it. If I'm meant to start a business, so be it. Just whatever happens, happens. Like, that's just what it's meant. If God, or the people who would say, if God wanted me to be successful and have a business, I would have it. If God wanted me to do this, then that would be the case. And I'm just here and just going to go with the flow, and whatever happens, just truly happens. And it's meant to be, right? And the third one, I personally believe this is where the magic is at. This is where you co-create alongside the universe, right? You don't micromanage the universe or God or your higher power. Instead, you're calling in that next version of what you want to experience, right? So it's like, like I want to call in $1,000 because I need $1,000. But instead, you call in the experience of financial abundance, right? Because now you're not limiting yourself. I'm not going to just ask or call in, $1,000 because I need this $1,000. I want the experience of being financially abundant. I want to experience being rich because I've already experienced being in poverty. Now the experience I have is I want to financial abundance. Yeah, that's the experience I want to call in. Or, you know what? I've been doing this for the past X amount of time and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to experience this. I want to experience what it's like to really connect to my soul family or my soul tribe. So I want to call in that experience. Or, you know what? I've been working since I was 15 years old. I really want to experience what it's like to work for myself. Yeah, let's have that experience and let's call in that. Right. So you say, this is what I want to experience and I want to call it in and I'm going to co-create alongside with the universe. Right. And the difference being is not like I'm saying like, oh, I want to experience having my own business and I'm just going to wait for the universe to drop it in. No, I've called in that energy that I'm letting the universe know that this is an experience that I want to have. So I'm going to call in that energy. And now the universe is going to match that energy with me. And this is where the ideas all of a sudden just pop in. Or you're having a conversation with someone and they start talking about, starting a business and you're like, and they're like, yeah, I'm looking for like a partner. And then you're like, oh my God, what about me? And they're like, really? I didn't know that's something you want to do. And you're like, yeah, I've been thinking about this lately, right? So you're starting to call in. So because you're calling in this energy of whatever it may be, right? You may be calling in the energy and say, you know what? I've been fucking sad for years. And I don't want to experience sadness anymore. I really want to experience joy. That's what I want to do. I want to experience more joy in my life. I want to experience more fun and happiness in my life, right? So you're calling in that energy and now that universe is like, okay, what's up? Let's get it. Like, because universe doesn't judge us, right? So wherever your energy is at, they're like, oh, I guess Tisha really likes that sadness. So let me give her some more. Nah, she don't like that shit no more. We want some joy. We want some joy. So then some opportunities start to come to you because you're calling in that energy. And now you're starting to think about it, right? If you've been sad, a lot and you're like, I don't want that experience no more. I've experienced the shit out of that. And now I'm ready for this new experience of more joy. Just simply saying that creates a shift within you, a shift within your energy. And then when your energy starts to shift, you start to call in more of that. So now we rocking, right? And I'm co-creating alongside of the universe because this is an experience that I want to have. Like, I want to experience this. I want to experience that. I talked about this before on a podcast where I was like, I never wanted to be rich. And one of my good friends, Shauna, would always talking about wanting to be rich and that she was going to be on the cover of Forbes. And that was dope. And I supported it. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. And I would say that all the time. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be rich. And then I realized it was because of my belief of rich people, that they are stuck up. They're only about themselves. They're nasty. And I didn't want to be that type of person. But that was a belief that I had that was not my belief. But I took it on and I adopted it. And once I realized, I was like, wait a minute. That's not my belief. And that's not true, because I know some people who are, air quotes over here, rich, and they're amazing people, fucking amazing. Right. And I started to understand that difference of what it is with money and in a person's like character and how it highlights it and, and all of that I said, wait a minute, I want to experience being rich. I want that experience. I've never had that experience in this lifetime, and I want to experience it. So I started to call in that energy, but me calling in that energy led me to identifying my beliefs around money. It led me into doing the shadow work around there. It led me into doing the work of deserving, realizing that it was like, oh, I don't deserve it. Oh, shit. Right. So it wasn't when I called in that energy saying that, you know what, I want to experience being rich. It wasn't about like, oh, boom, let me hit the lottery. Let's go. Money, money, money. It was calling in that energy of saying, I want to experience this. So because I want to experience this, there is some work that needs to be done. Let me identify, why was it for so long I had the big ass X up? Like, hell no, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. This girl's a powerful fucking manifester, because guess who wasn't rich? Me, Tisha Michelle. So personally, I am in this third phase. I am where for me, this is where the magic is at for me. This is where I'm co-creating alongside of the universe and letting the universe, like, this is what I want to experience. And that is okay. And not worrying about what other people are going to think if I'm no longer offering this service or I'm no longer doing this. I've experienced that already. And that's cool. I enjoyed the experience. It was dope, or it was shitty, or whatever it was. And now I want to experience something else. Let me see what I can cook up over here. And to my listeners, whether you identify with the first one, the third dimensional way, or the second one where you're like, oh, whatever's meant to be will be. If I'm meant to dive in the dumpsters, I guess that's just what I was meant to do. Or the third one where you're like, fuck that shit. I'm co-creating alongside with the universe, and this is what I want to experience. No matter which one that you identify with, you're not wrong. It's okay. It is A-O-fucking-K, whatever one that you identify with. Why? Because this is your journey, yours and yours only. And you get to live out this journey whatever way that you choose to. And don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong for wanting following labels or the steps or the structure, or you have to do this or you have to do that, right? No, you're not wrong at all. And no one can tell you. They can tell you that, but forget them, right? They're projecting in that sense. If that's the way that you want to live out your journey, then you do it. And you do a damn good job at it. Or if you just want to if you are a fallen two and you're like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. It's just what it is. Whatever's meant to be is meant to be. You're not wrong for that either. It's your journey. And if that's how you want to look at it and that's how you want to operate, and go for it. And if you're in 3 and you're like, I'm going to fucking co-create alongside the universe, and I'm going to call in the experiences that I want based off of what it is that I want to do and what it is that I feel good for me, and not worrying about like what other people, like, okay, I've been in this job for 6 months and now I quit it. And people are like, why do you keep quitting your jobs? Why do you keep doing it? Don't worry about that. You're not wrong. If you experienced it and you felt like you experienced enough and you want to go on to the next experience, go on to the next experience. Again, this is your journey and you get to live it out however the fuck you want to. Whatever makes you feel good is what makes you feel good. If it's something that makes you feel shitty or sad or stressed out, as much as I want to be like, hey, there's more to life than that. Like, you don't have to live like that. You don't have to feel like that, right? In that sense, as much as I would want to say that in air quotes over here and pressure you or encourage you to live and to do better, either way, you're not wrong. And if you are in that phase of being, or that stage of sad or miserable or anything, I'm not going to judge you. And none of us should judge anyone, because whenever you are ready for more, you'll have it. And that's your choice. That is your choice. So don't let anybody tell you the way that you are living your life is wrong, because this is your experience and you came here to evolve and grow. And in order to evolve and grow, we have to learn lessons. And in order to learn those lessons, we have to have experiences. And you get to choose the experiences that you want. You get to choose how long you have the experience. You get to choose which ones you're bringing in and shit. It's your choice. Everything is our choice. And when we look at our life right now, in the here and now, everything that's in our life, we called it in some form, whether we feel like it's a negative thing, whether we feel like it's a positive thing, we called it in. So every single person that is listening to this episode, you are a powerful manifester, because we called in this energy, and it's the way that we choose to live out our journey. And it's not wrong and it's not right, but it's ours. Ours. So until next time, love you guys. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Seeing with Your Soul. If something you heard resonated with you, feel free to rate, review, and share with others. If you are looking to go deeper, you can connect with Tisha Michelle on Instagram at Mindset Slayer, or visit www.healingalignedglow.com.